Speak English like a native. Sounds, rhythm, and flow. Introduction. You hear some people speak English and think, wow, they make it sound so easy? Or have you heard, your English is good, but it sounds a little different? Many people who learn English want to speak like that. They want others to understand them easily. They want to connect with people better. They want to feel sure of themselves when they talk. This is a great goal and it's not far away. Sometimes, knowing grammar and many words is not enough. There is something missing, like a special music in the language that makes a big change. This book is about that music. We call it natural English speech. What does this mean? It's not just saying words right. It's how English sounds when people who grew up speaking it talk. It's about the flow, the beat, and how the voice goes up and down. It's about making the right sounds with your mouth and tongue. When these parts work well together, English sounds easy to hear and understand, like someone born speaking it. This book does not want you to lose your accent. Your accent is part of you. Instead, we will look at the special ways English speakers put words together. We will look at three main things: the small sounds, the rhythm and where we put the strong sound in words, and the way the voice goes up and down. Think of learning to play music. You can learn the notes, but to make nice music, you also need to know the timing, the beat, and the feeling. Sounds, rhythm, and the voices up and down are like that for English. Why are these things so important? Let's start with the sounds. English has some sounds that might be hard for you because they are not in your first language. Getting these sounds right is like using the right building blocks. If the blocks are wrong, the whole building can be weak, and people might not understand you well. We will use a special tool called the International Phonetic Alphabet, or IPA. It will help us find and practice these exact sounds. Then there is rhythm and stress. English has a strong beat. Some words or parts of words are said louder and longer than others. This is called stress. When you put the strong sound in the right place, your English sounds natural and helps people follow you. If you put the strong sound in the wrong place, it can be confusing. Lastly, there is intonation. This is like the melody of your voice. How your voice goes up and down tells people things. It can show if you are asking a question, saying something is true, or how you feel. Using the right intonation makes you sound friendlier, more interesting, and much clearer. These three parts, sounds, rhythm, and intonation, work together like a team to make English speech flow smoothly and naturally. In this book, we will learn about each of these parts, one by one. First, we will learn to make the small sounds of English, using the IPA to help us. Then, we will learn the secrets of English rhythm and stress. We will learn how to give your sentences that natural beat. After that, we will learn about the music of intonation. We will learn how to use your voice to show what you mean and how you feel. Finally, we will put it all together with practice to help you use these skills every day. You will find clear steps, helpful examples, and lots of practice to help you get better. Our goal is simple: to help you speak English with more confidence, clear meaning, and that natural, flowing sound. Learning to speak a new language is like a trip. It takes time and practice. But with the right tools and a clear way to learn, you can surely reach your goal of speaking English more naturally. Are you ready to find the secrets to English that flows? Let's start this fun trip together. 1. Understanding English sounds. Learning to speak English like someone who grew up speaking it is a trip. And like any good trip, it starts with knowing the ground you're walking on. For us, that ground is made of sounds. Think about it. Every word you've heard, every sentence you've said, is built from tiny parts. These parts are the single sounds of the language. If we want to build English that sounds good and natural, we first need to know what these building blocks are and how to use them perfectly. This is the main idea of understanding English sounds. Imagine you want to build a big castle. You wouldn't just throw rocks together, right? You'd want to know about different kinds of stones, their shapes, and how they fit. Spoken English is like that. It's made of special sounds called phonemes. These are the smallest sound parts that can change what a word means. For example, the sounds /p/ and /b/ are phonemes in English. If you say pat with a /p sound, it means something different from bat with a /b sound. Getting these single sounds right is the first, and maybe most important, step to speaking English naturally. It's like learning the alphabet for speaking, but instead of letters on paper, we focus on the sounds our mouths make. I remember a student, Maria. She came from a country where the R sound is made differently, almost like a soft W or a rolled R. When she learned English, she had a really hard time with words like red, right, and around. To her, red and wed sounded very much the same, and right and white were almost impossible to tell apart. She knew the words and understood the grammar, but when she spoke, these sounds just didn't come out right. It wasn't that she wasn't trying. It was that the muscles in her mouth and tongue weren't used to making the specific English R sound. She needed to learn how to make that sound, not just how to spell it. This is a common problem for many learners, and it shows why focusing on sounds is so important. So, why are English sounds hard for learners? There are a few big reasons. First, English has sounds that don't exist in many other languages. The famous th sound, like in think or this, is a good example. Many languages don't have this sound where the tongue lightly touches the back of the front teeth. Learners might use in /s//z//t/ or /d/ sound instead, which changes the word completely. Think becomes sink or tink. Also, the difference between the vowel sound in ship and sheep can be very hard for someone whose language doesn't tell words apart using these two sounds. They might hear them as the same, making it hard to say them differently. Second, English spelling is known for being tricky. We have many words that are spelled the same, but said differently, like read now versus read in the past. And we have many words that are spelled differently but sound the same, like two and two. Because of this, you can't always trust the spelling to tell you how to say a word. This is where our next tool comes in handy. To help us understand this complex world of sounds, language experts created a great system called the International Phonetic Alphabet, or IPA. Think of the IPA as a secret code for how to say things. Each symbol in the IPA stands for one, and only one, specific sound. It doesn't matter how a word is spelled, the IPA symbol tells you exactly how to make the sound. For example, the word ship is written in IPA as /sh. The symbol /sh/ always makes the sh sound, /p/ is the short I sound, and /p/ is the p sound. The word sheep is /I lengthened p/. See the /I lengthened/ symbol? It means a longer E sound. The IPA gives us a clear, steady way to learn and talk about pronunciation, cutting through the confusion of English spelling. It's a very important tool for anyone who really wants to master English sounds. Now, let's look at these sounds a bit more closely. We can usually put all the sounds of English and most languages into two main groups: vowels and consonants. Vowels are the core of a spoken part of a word. They are made with your voice, tubular throat, mouth, and nose open, meaning air flows out easily without being stopped. The sound of a vowel is shaped by how you move your tongue and the shape of your lips. Think of the sounds in words like see, say, so, soon. These are all vowel sounds. They give the language its music. Without vowels, speech would sound jerky and unnatural. They are the open, flowing sounds that connect everything else. Consonants, on the other hand, are made when the air from your lungs is blocked in some way by your lips, tongue, or teeth. This blockage can be a full stop like with /p//t//k/, a partial blockage that makes a rubbing sound like with /f//s//esh/, or a small change in airflow like with /l//r//w/. Consonants give words their shape and rhythm. They are the clear sound points that give words their form. For example, in the word cat, the /k/ and /t/ sounds are consonants, and the /ae/ sound is the vowel. The consonants give the word its sharp parts, while the vowel gives it its body. Understanding the difference between vowels and consonants is important because they work differently when we speak and add different things to natural English speech. Vowels are often longer and more noticeable, carrying the stress and tune of sentences. Consonants make words clear and easy to tell apart. But how do we actually make these sounds? This leads us to the physical part, mouth mechanics. Making any sound, whether it's a vowel or a consonant, needs careful movements of your tongue, lips, jaw, and even the soft part at the back of your mouth. For example, to make the English /p/ sound, you briefly stop the air with your lips and then let it out with a small puff of air. To make the /t/ sound, you put the tip of your tongue behind your front teeth and then let the air out. For the vowel /I lengthen / like in sheep, your tongue is high and forward in your mouth, and your lips are spread. Learning to speak English naturally means learning to control these small, exact movements. It's like learning a dance for your mouth. Often, learners have trouble with a sound because the tongue or lip position needed is new. They might need to practice putting their tongue in a new place or shaping their lips in a new way. This is why just hearing a sound isn't always enough. You need to know how to physically create it. Let's look a bit closer at some questions that come up when we talk about these sounds. One of the most common English sounds that learners find difficult is, as we mentioned, the th sound. There are actually two th sounds in English, the quiet one /theta/ like in think, path, and the voiced one, /eth/ like in this, mother. In terms of how they are made, these sounds are tricky because they are made by forcing air through a small gap between the tongue and the upper teeth, creating a rubbing sound. For many learners, their language might have a /t/ or /d/ sound, which involves the tongue touching the ridge behind the teeth and stopping the air completely. The idea of putting the tongue between the teeth and letting air flow through is completely new and can feel strange. The muscles just aren't used to it. This is why think might sound like sink or tink, and this might sound like dis or zis. The physical action is just different. Another common challenge is telling the difference between vowel sounds, like the short /small cap I/ in sit and the long /I lengthen / in seat. How they are made differs in tongue height and how far back the tongue is, as well as how long the sound is. The /small cap I/ sound is made with the tongue fairly low and forward in the mouth, and it's short. The /I lengthen / sound is made with the tongue high and forward, and it's held longer, often with the lips slightly spread. For speakers of languages where the length of a vowel doesn't change a word's meaning, or where the vowel system is different, telling apart and making these slightly different sounds can be very hard. They might say sit and seat almost the same way, causing confusion for native speakers. The difficulty also comes with sounds like the English /l/ versus /r/. In some languages, these sounds are very similar or even just different ways of making the same sound. In English, however, they are different. The /l/ sound usually involves the tip of the tongue touching the roof of the mouth just behind the teeth, letting air flow around the sides of the tongue. The /r/ sound, however, is more complex and changes depending on accent, but generally involves the tongue tip being raised towards the roof of the mouth without touching it, or the back of the tongue being raised, creating a sort of cup shape. The air then passes through the middle of the mouth. This difference in tongue position and airflow is very important. Now, let's think about how understanding these single sounds directly helps improve overall speech flow and naturalness. It's not just about saying words correctly by themselves. When you master the single sounds, you gain the confidence to connect them smoothly. This leads to better natural English speech. Remember what we said. Natural English speech is how English sounds when spoken by people who learned it from birth. It's not just about saying each word correctly, but also about the music of the language. When you can make sounds like /theta/ and /eth/ correctly, your words flow more smoothly. You don't have to pause or switch sounds, which breaks the rhythm. When you can clearly tell the difference between ship and sheep, people can understand you more easily, and you don't have to repeat yourself as much. This ease of understanding is a big part of sounding natural. Also, understanding sounds helps you grasp the idea of connected speech. Native speakers don't always say every single sound and every word clearly. Sounds can change, blend, or even disappear when words are spoken together in a sentence. For example, the T sound in "What are you doing?" often becomes more like a quick D sound or even disappears, making it sound like "What are you doing?" If you're trying to say every single sound perfectly and clearly, you might end up sounding too formal or even like a robot. But if you understand the basic sounds and how they naturally link together, you can start to copy that smooth, connected flow. Mastering the single sounds gives you the base to understand and eventually join in these natural linking processes. It's like knowing all the single notes perfectly before you can play a beautiful, flowing song. Besides the IPA, what real-life ways can learners use to listen for and tell apart similar English sounds? This is where active listening and focused practice come in. One of the best ways is minimal pair practice. Minimal pairs are words that are different by only one sound. We mentioned ship / small cap IP / and sheep / I lengthen P /. Other examples include pat / peat / and bat / beat / sit / s small cap it / and seat / s I lengthen T / thin / theta small cap in / and tin / t small cap in /. You can find lists of minimal pairs online or in pronunciation dictionaries. The practice involves listening to a word and figuring out which word was said, or saying the words yourself, focusing on the difference. You can record yourself saying them and compare. Another strong method is shadowing. This means listening to a native speaker from a podcast, movie, or audio lesson and trying to repeat what they say at the same time as they are speaking, or just a moment after. This makes you copy not just the words, but also the sounds, the rhythm, and the tune. Pay close attention to how the speaker's mouth might move, how they shape their lips, and where they seem to place their tongue. You can slow down the audio if you need to. The goal is to make the sounds and the flow feel natural to you. Using pictures and videos can also be very helpful. Many online resources show drawings or moving pictures of the position of the tongue, lips, and jaw for each English sound. Seeing a picture of how to make a sound can make a big difference. For instance, watching a video of someone showing the TH sound with their tongue lightly between their teeth can be more useful than just reading about it. Recording yourself is a must. We often don't hear our own pronunciation correctly. By recording yourself saying words, sentences, and then listening back carefully, you can compare your pronunciation to a native speaker's and find specific areas to improve. It might feel a bit awkward at first, but it's one of the most effective ways to pinpoint exactly where you need to change how you use your mouth. Finally, being aware is key. When you are listening to English, try to actively notice the sounds. Are you hearing an /s/ or a /theta/? Is it a short / small cap I/ or a long / lengthen /? Don't just listen for the meaning, listen for the sounds themselves. This kind of focused listening trains your ear to notice the small differences that are crucial for understanding and making natural English. Once we understand the single notes in the English musical scale, its clear sounds, we can start to see how these notes are played together to create the special rhythm and tune of natural speech. The next step is to explore how these sounds join together and how emphasizing certain parts of words and sentences creates the clear flow that shows fluency like a native speaker. 2. Mastering the IPA. English spelling can be hard to figure out. Look at words like though, through, tough, and cough. They all end the same way, but they sound very different. This is a big challenge when you want to speak English well. You might see a word and think you know how to say it, but then someone else says it, and it sounds surprising. This can make it hard to know if you were saying words the right way. It's like a map where the same picture can mean a mountain, a river, or a town. Wouldn't it be nice if things were clearer? This is where the International Phonetic Alphabet, or IPA, helps. It's not a new language to learn. It's like a secret code, a special alphabet made to show every sound people make when they talk. Every language uses certain sounds, and the IPA has a special mark for each sound. For English, this means we can use IPA marks to write down exactly how a word sounds, not just how it's spelled. This one-to-one match between a mark and a sound is very strong. It cuts through confusing spelling rules and shows you the real way to say a word. Imagine you see a word in your dictionary, and next to it, you see marks like /theta small cap /. This is the IPA for think. Instead of guessing how to say it from the letters THENK, you can learn what each IPA mark means. The mark /theta/ tells you exactly where to put your tongue and teeth to make that soft TH sound, like in thin. The mark /small cap I/ shows the short I sound, like in it. And the mark /ang/ guides you to the NG sound at the end, like in sing. When you can read these marks, you have a clear, sure guide to how to say words. This is a big step to speaking natural English speech, which means making the language sound smooth and familiar to people who speak English all the time. Learning the IPA is like getting a superpower for how you speak. It helps you understand the pronunciation in dictionaries that often look like nonsense at first. Most importantly, it helps you find and practice those tricky English sounds that might not be in your own language. Think about the TH sounds, the soft one in think /theta/ and the voiced one in this /eth/. Many languages don't have these sounds, and learners often say S, Z, F, or D instead. The IPA gives you the exact marks to aim for. Also, the difference between the English L sound like in light and the R sound like in right can be very hard for some learners. The IPA marks for these sounds, often shown as /L/ and /R/, help you understand the small differences in how your mouth and tongue should move. This superpower also helps you tell the difference between words that sound very alike, but mean different things. For example, the difference between ship /esh small cap IP/ and sheep /esh I lengthened P/ is just one sound, the short I in ship versus the long E sound in sheep. The IPA marks /small cap I/ and /I lengthen/ clearly show this difference. If you don't understand these different sounds, you might say sheep when you mean ship, which can cause funny mix-ups. Knowing these small sound differences is a key part of natural English speech because native speakers use them all the time without thinking. They are part of the music of the language. So, how do you get this superpower? It might seem a bit hard at first, but it's easier than you think. The goal is not to memorize every single IPA mark in the world. For English learners, the most important thing is to focus on the IPA marks used for English sounds. You can find many good places to learn online. Search for English IPA chart and you'll find tables showing each mark, often with a sound clip, so you can hear it. Many good dictionaries, online and in books, will show the IPA pronunciation next to the word. There are also helpful apps and websites for practicing pronunciation that use the IPA. When you start, don't try to learn everything at once. Pick a few sounds that you know are hard for you. Maybe it's those TH sounds, or maybe the difference between /b/ and /v/ or the vowel sounds like the short A in cat/ae/ compared to the long A in cake/e small cap I/. Focus on understanding the IPA mark for that sound and how to make it. Practice saying words that use that sound, looking at the IPA mark. For example, if you are working on the /theta/ sound, look at words like the word /theta r I lengthen / thought /theta open a lengthen t/ and path /b theta/. See how the mark /theta/ appears in different places in these words. It's also helpful to compare sounds that are alike. For instance, the IPA mark for the sh sound is /esh/ as in ship /esh small cap ip/. The IPA mark for the ch sound is /th/ as in chip /th small cap ip/. By seeing these marks next to each other, you can better understand the difference in how the sounds are made, which is very important for natural English speech. The IPA gives you a clear map for your mouth and tongue. I remember a student, a kind woman named Maria from Spain. She was very smart, knew a lot of grammar, and could write very well. But when she spoke English, she often felt like no one noticed her. She told me, "Professor, I say the words, but people don't always understand. They look confused." We worked on many things, but one day we focused on the difference between the English L and R. In Spanish, the R is often rolled, and the L is quite like the English L. But the English R is made differently, further back in the throat, and the English L is made with the tip of your tongue touching the roof of your mouth just behind your teeth. Maria was saying lice when she meant rice, and play when she meant pray. You could see the frustration on her face. Then we started using the IPA. I showed her the mark /L/ and explained how to put the tip of her tongue up. Then I showed her the mark /R/ and explained how to pull the middle of her tongue back and up without touching the roof of her mouth. We looked at words. Light /L a small cap IT/ versus right /R a small cap IT/ place /PL e small cap I/ versus praise /PRE small cap I/. Seeing the different marks /L/ and /R/ in the dictionary next to the words made something click for her. It wasn't just about hearing the difference anymore. She had a visual guide. She started practicing in front of a mirror, focusing on how her tongue moved. Slowly, her speaking got better. The confusion on people's faces started to go away. She told me later, "It's like I found the key. Now I can hear the difference and I know how to make it. I feel like people can finally hear me." This is the power of the IPA. It gives you the tools to unlock those sounds and speak with more confidence, moving closer to natural English speech. Another student, Kenji from Japan, had a similar experience with vowel sounds. Japanese vowels are quite clear and short. English has many more vowel sounds, including long and short vowels and sounds that change from one vowel to another. NG often mixed up ship slash esh small cap IP slash with sheep slash esh I lengthen p slash and bed slash with bad slash bead slash. He knew the spelling, but the sounds were all mixed up. When we looked at the IPA, he saw the mark slash small cap I slash for the short I in ship and the mark slash I lengthened slash for the long E in sheep. He saw the mark slash E slash for the short E in bed and the mark slash A slash for the short A in bad. Seeing these clear marks helped him understand that these weren't just slightly different sounds, they were separate sounds that needed different shapes of the mouth and tongue positions. He started practicing words that were very similar, differing by only one sound, like ship slash sheep or bed slash bad, using the IPA as his guide. It took time and steady practice, but he began to hear and make these sounds more correctly. Being able to tell apart and make small sound differences is very important for natural English speech. The IPA isn't just about single sounds, though. It's the first step in understanding the bigger picture of natural English speech. Once you can correctly find and make the single sounds, you can then start to put them together in a way that sounds natural. The IPA helps you see how words are made from these sound parts. It's like learning the alphabet before you can write words and sentences. Without a good understanding of the sound building blocks, your attempts at rhythm and tone might not sound quite right, even if you are trying your best. Think of it this way. If you are building a house, you need strong bricks. The IPA marks are your strong bricks for building clear and natural sounding English. If your bricks are weak or not the same like English spelling often is, your whole house might be shaky. The IPA gives you perfectly made, steady bricks. So, when you see a word you're not sure about, don't just guess from the spelling. Look up its IPA pronunciation. Pay attention to the marks. Try to make the sounds. Use online places to hear them. Practice saying them. Compare sounds that are alike using their IPA marks. This focused way of learning, guided by the IPA, will help you go from just knowing the words to actually saying them like a native speaker. It's a journey, and the IPA is one of your most useful tools on that path. Once you understand the building blocks of English sounds through the IPA, you are ready to start putting them together. But just knowing the right sounds is not enough. The real magic of natural English is in how those sounds flow together. In the next part, we will look at the rhythm and stress that give English its special beat. 3. Rhythm and stress in speech. Learning to speak English like someone who grew up speaking it is a trip. We talked about how important it is to say sounds the right way. But if you think that's all, you're missing a big part of what makes English sound good. Imagine hearing a song where every note is the same loud and the same speed. It would be boring, right? Spoken English is like that. It has its own special beat. Knowing where to put the loud part, or stress, is like knowing which notes to play louder or softer to make the song nice. This is called natural English speech, making the language sound alive and smooth, like someone who learned it from birth. It's not just saying words clearly, but how they join and move together. Let me tell you about Maria. Maria was a smart student. She worked very hard on her sounds. She could make the TH sound perfectly. Her R's were clear. She knew all the vowel sounds. When she spoke, each word was like a perfect little jewel. But when she put them in a sentence, it sounded, well, a bit like a robot reading. Every part of every word got the same attention, the same loudness, the same speed. I remember one day she told me about her weekend. She said, I went to the park on a Saturday and CW was squirrel. It was right. Every word was clear. But it was hard to follow. It felt like she was listing things, not telling a story. She was sad because she thought she was doing everything right, but people still sometimes asked her to say it again, or their eyes would look tired. The problem wasn't her sounds. It was the beat and the stress. She hadn't learned the secret song of English yet. English has a special beat. This is a very important idea to get. Some languages, like Spanish or French, have a steady beat for every small part of a word. Think of it like a clock ticking, tick-tock, tick-tock. Every tick is the same. English, though, is different. The parts of words that get stress get more time and energy. The parts that don't get stress get pushed together and made shorter. It's like different music. Some notes are long and loud, and others are short and fast. The stressed parts are the long, loud notes. The unstressed parts are the short, fast notes in between. Let's look at the sentence Maria said. I went to the park on Saturday and Saw. If she had spoken it with the English beat, it might sound more like this. I went to the park on Saturday and Saw. See how the important words park, Saturday, saw, squirrel stand out. The words in between I went to the and on and it get shorter and faster. Here's another example. I want to go to the store. If you say this with the same loudness for every part, it sounds like I want to go to the store. This sounds a bit like a computer. But in natural English speech, the beat changes. The important words get the loud part, and the small words get squished. It sounds more like, I want to go to the store. I want to go to the store. Notice how the little words like to and the become very fast and soft. They almost disappear into the beat. This is what makes English sound smooth and flowing, not jerky. When people learning English don't get this beat, their speech can sound not natural, even if their sounds are perfect. It's like a nice picture where all the colors are mixed up. The parts are there, but the picture doesn't look right. Word stress changes meaning and sound. This is where things get really interesting and sometimes a little hard. In English, the stress you put on a part of a word can actually change what the word means, or even how it sounds. This is a big part of natural English speech. Let's look at some common examples. Record a thing, like a music record vs record to write down or save sound. If you're talking about a music record, you say record. The loud part is on the first part. But if you want to record a song, you say record. The loud part is on the second part. Can you hear the difference? Record the thing and record the action. This one change in stress completely changes the word's job. Content what's inside vs content happy. The content of a box what's inside is content. Loud part on the first part. But if you were happy, you were content. Loud part on the second part. So, the content of the box made me content. Project a school task vs project to throw something forward. A school project is project. Loud part on the first part. But if you project your voice, you say project. Loud part on the second part. These examples show how important word stress is. If you get it wrong, you might say the wrong word, or your meaning might not be clear. This change in stress also happens in word families. Look at these words, all about pictures. Autograph a picture loud part on the first part. Photograph photographer the person who takes pictures the loud part moves to the second part, photographer. Photography the art of taking pictures and here, it moves again to the third part, photography. As you can see, as the word gets longer or changes its form, the stress part can move. This is common in English, and people who speak it naturally do it without thinking. For learners, this is key to sounding natural and being understood easily. When you learn a new word, you don't just learn how to spell it and what it means, you also need to learn where the loud part is. Sentence stress helps people understand now, Let's look at whole sentences, not just words. Just like words have stressed parts, sentences have stressed words. This is called sentence stress, and it's another very important part of natural English speech. Think about what you want to say most when you speak. You naturally put more energy and loudness into those words. This helps the person listening understand what you think is most important. Let's take a simple sentence. I saw him yesterday. If you want to say who you saw, you might stress him. I saw him yesterday. Maybe someone asked, did you see Sarah? And you say, no, I saw him yesterday. If you want to say when you saw him, you might stress yesterday. I saw him yesterday. Maybe someone asked, did you see him last week? And you say, no, I saw him yesterday. If the main point is that you saw him, maybe someone else says they saw him, you might stress saw. I saw him yesterday. Being able to change sentence stress is like using different colors to make parts of a picture stand out. It makes your talking clearer and more exact. When learners don't use sentence stress, their sentences can sound flat and boring. Every word gets the same treatment, and the listener has to work harder to know what the speaker really means. This is the opposite of natural English speech, which is clear, interesting, and easy to follow. Think about this. If you are learning a language and someone speaks to you with perfect sounds but no rhythm, or sentence stress, it's like listening to music with the same beat all the time. It's correct, but it has no life or feeling. Sentence stress brings that life and feeling to spoken English. It shows what's important, what's different, and how ideas connect. Unstressed syllables often get shorter. This is an interesting part of natural English speech that often surprises learners. Because English has a special beat, and we give more time and energy to stressed parts, the unstressed parts often get reduced. What does that mean? It means their vowel sounds become weaker and shorter. The most common weak vowel sound in English is the schwa/schwa/. It's a very relaxed, neutral sound like the A in about or the U in supply. Think about the word about. We write it with an A and a U, which can make different sounds. But in natural speech, it sounds like /schwa stress be a letter to wait t slash. The first part, which is not stressed, as the schwa sound, /schwa/. The second part, which is stressed, has the slash, a letter to wait / sound like an ouch. Here are more examples. Lemon. We write it with two O's, but it sounds like /stress lemon /. The second part has a schwa sound, /stress slem /+/n/. Banana. Written with three A's, but sounds like /b schwa stress and a en schwa/. The first and last parts have the schwa sound, /b /+ stress nin /+ schwa/. Computer. Written with U and E, but sounds like /k schwa m stress pju lengthen t schwa r/. The first part has a schwa, /cam /+ stress pju lengthen /+ ter/. Delicious. Written with E and I, but sounds like /d small cap I stress l small cap I s schwa s/. The last part has a schwa, /d small cap I /+ stress l small cap I s /+ schwa/. This shortening of unstressed vowels is a big sign that someone is speaking English naturally. When learners try to say every vowel sound clearly and fully, even in unstressed parts, their speech can sound very slow and not natural. It's like they are trying to make every single part of every word equally important, which is not how English naturally flows. So, when you hear words like that, a, to, for, and at, of, when they are not stressed in a sentence, their vowel sounds often change to the schwa. For example, I want to go to the store might sound like I want to go to the store. The two S become very short and have a schwa sound. Understanding and practicing the shortening is key to achieving natural English speech. It's not about mumbling, it's about knowing that in the rhythm of English, unstressed parts naturally become softer and faster, often using that easy schwa sound. What happens when stress and rhythm are wrong? What happens when learners don't pay attention to rhythm and stress? What problems do they have? First, it's harder to understand. If you put the stress in the wrong place in a word, you might say the wrong word, like we saw with record thing vs. record action. Imagine trying to tell someone you want to record a song, but you say record. They might think you're talking about a vinyl disc. In sentences, if you don't stress the important information, your listener might miss the main point or have to work much harder to understand. It's like trying to follow a map where the important places are hidden. Second, it doesn't sound natural. Even if every word is said correctly, speech without the right rhythm and stress sounds like a robot, jerky, or even foreign. It doesn't have that smooth, flowing quality that makes English easy and nice to listen to. This can make listeners feel distant or less interested. It's the difference between listening to a beautiful song and listening to someone just calling out notes. Not sounding natural can also make you feel less sure of yourself. If you feel like you sound off, you might be more afraid to speak. Third, people can misunderstand you. Sometimes, the stress pattern is the only thing that makes two words or phrases different. For example, I can't go vs. I can go. The stress on can in the second sentence makes it strong, showing you really can or want to go. Without that stress, it might sound like a simple fact. When the rhythm is wrong, listeners might stop paying attention, or they might understand your message differently than you meant. They might focus on the wrong words, causing confusion. Think about Maria. Her perfectly said words were like separate shiny beads. But without the thread of rhythm and stress connecting them, they didn't make a pretty necklace. Once she started understanding how to stress words in sentences and how to let unstressed parts flow quickly, her speech changed. She started to sound more like the people she heard on TV or in movies. Her listeners started to understand her more easily, and she felt much more confident. She realized that natural English speech was about more than just the parts. It was about how those parts were put together to make something that was both strong and beautiful. So, to sum up, English has a special beat. It's stress-timed, meaning stressed parts get more time and unstressed parts get shorter. This rhythm is needed for natural English speech. Word stress can change meaning, and sentence stress tells your listener what's most important. And to keep this rhythm going, unstressed vowels often change to a weaker sound, the schwa. Learning these things is the next big step after learning individual sounds. It's what turns clear speech into flowing, natural, and truly understandable talking. This musicality of English is what we'll build on next, as we look at how the rise and fall of your voice adds even more color to what you say. 4. Practicing natural flow. Sometimes, when we know all the English words and grammar rules, our speaking can still sound a little strange. It might sound like we are reading from a paper, or like there is a small stop between every word. This is not because we're saying words wrong, but because we have not learned the music of English. Natural English speaking is about this music. It is how people who grew up speaking English join their words, make a beat, and use their voice to show what they mean. It is about making English sound smooth and easy, like a song. This part is all about practicing that smooth flow. We will look at how words join together, how the beat works, and how our voice goes up and down. Joining words. The glue of natural speaking. Think about how you speak your own language. Do you stop after every single word? Probably not. We naturally join words together. This is like using a special glue to make our sentences flow smoothly. In English, this happens in a few ways. One of the most common ways is joining sounds. This is when the end of one word connects to the start of the next word. It makes words sound like they belong together. Let's take an easy example, an apple. If you say an and then apple with a clear stop, they sound separate. But in natural English speaking, the N sound from and often slides right into the sound of apple. So, an apple sounds more like an apple. The N sound acts like a bridge. Here are some common ways this joining happens. When a word ends with a consonant sound and the next word starts with a vowel sound. Get out sounds like get-out, pick it up sounds like picky-top. Turn off sounds like turn off. The N sound joins to the O sound when a word ends with a vowel sound, and the next word starts with a vowel sound with a Y or W sound in between. Sometimes, a little Y or W sound comes between two vowel sounds to help them join smoothly. See it sounds like see it. The Y sound helps join the E and I. Go away sounds like go away. The W sound helps join the O and A. When a word ends with a consonant sound and the next word starts with the same consonant sound, we often just say the sound once, but make it a little longer. Big game sounds like by game. You don't need to say the G twice. Stop playing sounds like stow playing. The P sound is said once. Besides joining, there are also reductions. These are changes that happen to words or sounds that are not stressed to make speaking faster and smoother. People who speak English naturally often make common words or phrases shorter. The most famous example is going to. Most people who speak English naturally do not say going to slowly. They say it much faster and it often sounds like gonna. I am going to go to the store. Sounds more like I'm gonna go to the store. Other common reductions include want to becomes wanna. For example, I wanna go. Have to becomes have to. For example, I have to finish this. Kind of becomes kinda. For example, it's kinda cold. A lot of becomes a lotta. For example, we have a lot of work. For can sometimes sound like fur. For example, this is for you. To can often sound like ta when it is not stressed. For example, I want to see. Practicing joining and reductions. How can you practice these without sounding like you are trying too hard or sounding unnatural? The key is to listen and copy. 1. Listen carefully. Pay close attention when you watch movies, TV shows, or listen to podcasts. Try to notice how words blend together. Do not try to catch every single one at first. Just start to hear the glue. 2. Shadowing. This is a great technique. Find a short audio clip of someone who speaks English naturally talking at a normal speed. Play it and try to speak along with them at the same time. Do not worry if you cannot get every word. The goal is to match their beat and the way their words connect. As you get better, you can try to copy the joining and reductions you hear. 3. Practice common phrases. Make a list of common phrases that use joining or reductions. For example, a lot of, going to, want to, kind of. Practice saying them quickly and smoothly. I'm gonna go to the park. Do you wanna play? It's kinda late. 4. Record yourself. Sometimes, hearing yourself is the best way to notice where you might be pausing too much. Record yourself saying a few sentences and then listen back. Can you hear the words running together like they do in natural English speaking? Remember, the goal is not to change your accent completely right away. It is about making your English sound more connected and easier for others to understand. These joining and reduction sounds are the secret glue that holds natural English speaking together. Rhythm is king, the beat of English. Every language has a rhythm like a heartbeat or a musical beat. English has a very special kind of rhythm called stress-timed. This is different from languages that have a syllable-timed rhythm. In syllable-timed languages like Spanish or French, every syllable gets about the same amount of time and importance. It has a very even, steady beat. In English, it is different. We have stressed syllables and unstressed syllables. Stressed syllables are louder, longer, and have a higher pitch. Unstressed syllables are quieter, shorter, and often have a lower pitch. This means that the time between the stressed syllables is about the same, no matter how many unstressed syllables are in between. It is like a drummer hitting the drum at regular times. The sounds between the drum hits can be fast or slow, but the hits themselves happen on a steady beat. Let's look at an example. I want to go to the store to buy some bread. Notice the words in bold: want, go, store, buy, bread. These are the stressed words, and they carry the main meaning. The other words I, to, the, to, some are less important and are unstressed. In natural English speaking, the unstressed words often get reduced. They become very short and quiet. The to sounds like ta, and some might sound very weak. So, the sentence above sounds more like, I want to go to the store to buy some bread. The rhythm comes from the strong beats on want, go, store, buy, bread. The unstressed words just fill in the gaps very quickly. Why is this important? If you speak English with an even rhythm, like syllable-timed languages, you might sound like you are speaking too slowly or too carefully. It can make your English sound less natural. Understanding and using the stress-timed rhythm helps your English sound more like natural English speaking. How to practice English rhythm. 1. Identify stressed words. When you read or listen to English, try to hear which words are stressed. Usually, these are the words that carry the main meaning: nouns, main verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Small words like a, the, to, is, of, on are usually unstressed. 2. Listen to the beat. Try tapping your foot or clapping your hands to the beat of stressed syllables in sentences. My name is Anna. Tap, tap. I live in London. Tap, tap. She works at a bank. Tap, tap. 3. Exaggerate at first. To really feel the rhythm, try making it bigger. Say sentences and make the stressed words very loud and long, and the unstressed words very short and quiet. This might feel silly, but it helps your mouth and brain get used to the pattern. I really need to go. Make really, need, and go big and strong. Make the two very small. 4. Shadowing again. Shadowing is excellent for rhythm too. By speaking along with someone who speaks English naturally, you naturally start to copy their timing and the beat of their sentences. 5. Read aloud with rhythm. Take a simple paragraph. Read it once normally. Then read it again, focusing on making the stressed words stand out and the unstressed words almost disappear. Imagine you are a drummer keeping a steady beat. Do not worry if you do not get it perfectly right away. Making a new rhythm feel natural takes time and practice. The more you listen and try to copy the stress-timed beat of English, the more natural your speaking will become. It is the engine that drives natural English speaking. Intonation's emotional palette. The music of meaning intonation is about the rise and fall of your voice as you speak. It is the melody of your sentences. Just like rhythm gives English its beat, intonation gives it its emotional color and helps us understand what the speaker means. It is not just about sounding nice. It is a very important part of talking. Think about how your voice changes when you ask a question compared to when you make a statement. This change in pitch is intonation. How intonation works. 1. Statements. In English, statements usually have a falling intonation at the end. Your voice goes down. The weather is nice today. Voice goes down at today. I finished my homework. Voice goes down at homework. 2. Yes/no questions. Questions that can be answered with yes or no usually have a rising intonation at the end. Your voice goes up. Are you coming to the party? Voice goes up at party. Did you eat breakfast? Voice goes up at breakfast. 3. WH questions. Questions that start with who, what, where, when, why, or how usually have a falling intonation at the end, like statements. What time is it? Voice goes down at it. Where did you go? Voice goes down at go. 4. Lists. When you list things, your voice usually rises on each item except the last one, where it falls. I bought apples, bananas, and oranges. Voice rises on apples, rises on bananas, and falls on oranges. 5. Showing emotions. Intonation is key to showing how you feel. Surprise. Your voice might go up higher than usual. You did? Excitement. Your pitch might rise and fall more strongly. That's amazing. Boredom. Your voice might be flatter and lower. Oh, really? Sarcasm. Sometimes, intonation can be used to say the opposite of what the words mean. If someone says that was a great idea, with a flat or slightly falling tone, they might mean it was a terrible idea. The importance of intonation in natural English speaking. Using the correct intonation helps you sound clear. People will understand if you are asking a question or making a statement. Sound natural. Your speaking will have the expected musicality of English. Show meaning and emotion. You can show your feelings and intentions better. Sound more confident. Proper intonation makes you sound more fluent and sure of yourself. Imagine someone saying, "You're leaving?" With a falling tone, it might sound like a statement of fact or even a bit like they are angry. But if they say, "You're leaving?" with a rising tone, it clearly sounds like a question, showing surprise or asking for confirmation. The words are the same, but the intonation changes the whole meaning. Practicing intonation. 1. Listen and imitate. Again, listening is very important. Pay attention to the melody of voices of people who speak English naturally. Notice when their pitch goes up or down. Try to copy them. 2. Practice question types. Say pairs of sentences, a statement and a yes/no question with the same words. Statement. He is here. Falling tone. Question. Is he here? Rising tone. Statement. You like coffee. Falling tone. Question. Do you like coffee? Rising tone. 3. Practice WH questions. Say questions starting with what, where, etc. and practice the falling tone at the end. What's your name? Falling tone. How are you? Falling tone. 4. Read dialogues. Find scripts from movies or books. Read them aloud, focusing on the intonation. Try to capture the emotion and meaning through your voice. 5. Use emotion. Pick a simple sentence like "It's cold." Now say it with different emotions. Say it happily. It's cold. Maybe a slight rise and fall. Say it sadly. It's cold. Lower pitch, falling. Say it with surprise. It's cold. Higher pitch, rising. Say it with annoyance. It's cold. Flatter, maybe a bit sharper. Intonation is like painting with your voice. It adds all the subtle shades and colors that make talking rich and interesting. Learning to use it well is a big step towards natural English speaking. Putting it all together, practice makes progress. Now we have talked about joining words, the rhythm of English, and the melody of intonation. These three things work together to create natural English speaking. It is not enough to understand them, you need to practice them. Here are some ways to bring it all together. 1. Shadowing the super practice. We have mentioned this a few times because it is so effective. Find audio or video of someone who speaks English naturally. Choose something you enjoy, a podcast, a TED talk, a scene from a movie. Start with a short clip, maybe 30 seconds to a minute. Listen to it once to get the general idea. Play it again and try to speak exactly with the speaker. Match their speed. their rhythm, their joining sounds, and their intonation. Do not worry about being perfect. If you miss a word or your intonation is not quite right, that is okay. The goal is to copy the overall flow. Repeat the same clip several times. You will notice you get better each time. As you improve, try longer clips or faster speakers. 2. Read aloud with focus. Choose a text, a short story, an article, even a chapter from this book. Read it through once normally. Read it again, but this time, focus on one thing. First, focus on joining words. Try to make the words flow into each other. Second, focus on the rhythm. Make the stressed words strong and the unstressed words weak. Third, focus on intonation. Imagine you are telling a story or asking questions. Let your voice rise and fall. Finally, read it a fourth time, trying to combine all three: joining, rhythm, and intonation. Aim for that smooth, musical sound of natural English speaking. 3. Practice common chunks. People who speak English naturally often use set phrases or chunks of language. These chunks already have the natural rhythm, joining, and intonation built in. Examples: how are you doing? What's going on? Nice to meet you. See you later. I don't know. Could you please? Practice saying these phrases naturally as one unit, rather than word by word. Try to use them in sentences. Hey, John, how are you doing? 4. Tongue twisters for fun and skill. Tongue twisters are great for practicing specific sounds, but they also force you to think about the flow and rhythm. She sells seashells by the seashore. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Try saying them slowly at first, focusing on the sounds and connections. Then try to say them faster, focusing on keeping the rhythm and flow. 5. Record and review. This is your personal feedback tool. Record yourself speaking for a minute or two. You could read a text, describe your day, or answer a practice question. Listen back. Ask yourself, did I link my words? Did I use a natural rhythm? Were some words stronger than others? Was my intonation clear? Did my voice go up and down correctly? Did I sound like I was pausing too much between words? Do not be too hard on yourself. Just notice areas where you can improve. Then try recording again, focusing on those areas. The journey to natural English speaking is a process. It is about building new habits for your mouth, your ears, and your brain. By actively practicing how words connect, how sentences have a beat, and how your voice carries meaning, you are actively shaping your English to sound more like the way it is spoken every day by people who speak it naturally. This focus on flow is what truly brings your language to life. By actively practicing these techniques for joining words, using rhythm, and applying intonation, you are beginning to unlock the beautiful music of English. This basic understanding of how speech flows prepares you to express yourself more clearly, with more confidence, and more naturally. It is the essential step before we explore how to use this flow to show even more subtle meanings and change your speaking for different situations. Conclusion: you have finished reading Speak English Like a Native. You have learned how to make your English sound like a native speaker. You know the sounds, the rhythm, and the music of English. What does it mean to sound like a native speaker? It means you sound easy to understand. It means you can share your thoughts well. It means you can connect with people better. When you sound natural, you feel good. You don't worry so much about people not understanding you. You can focus on sharing your ideas. Using the right sounds, the right rhythm, and the right voice changes helps people understand you. This makes talking easier for everyone. It helps you feel like you fit in. Think about how easy it is to understand someone who speaks smoothly. Speaking smoothly and with the right voice changes is part of speaking well. It's not just about sounding good. It's about talking clearly and being yourself. It helps you have a better time when you speak English. We started with the basic sounds. You learned how to move your mouth and tongue to make English sounds. You learned sounds that might be new to you. We looked at how to tell sounds apart, like the difference between P and B. Then we learned about the music of English, its rhythm. You saw how some parts of words are stronger. We learned which part of a word to say louder. We also learned which words in a sentence are most important. Finally, we learned about how your voice goes up and down. This shows if you are asking a question, making a statement, or showing feelings. All these parts, the sounds and the rhythm, work together to make you sound like a native speaker. They are what make English come alive. This is just the beginning. To speak English well, you need to practice. You can practice every day. Keep listening to people who speak English as their first language. Watch movies, listen to music or podcasts, or talk with people. Listen to what they say and how they say it. Pay attention to the rhythm, the strong parts of words, and how their voice changes. Try to repeat what they say right after them. Listen to a small part, stop, say it, and then try to say it as they speak. This is a great way to copy their sounds and flow. Don't be afraid to record yourself. Listen to your voice and compare it to native speakers. You will find things to improve. Don't try to fix everything at once. Choose one sound, one rhythm, or one voice change to work on for a week. Most of all, use the language. Find ways to speak, even if it's just to yourself. Talk about your day, practice conversations, or read out loud. By doing these things often, you will get better and better at sounding like a native speaker. Picture yourself talking with people, speaking clearly and with confidence. Imagine talking to people easily, sharing your thoughts, and being understood. You now have the knowledge to make this happen. You know how to sound natural. Be kind to yourself. Be happy with your progress. Every time you practice, every time you talk, you are moving forward. Enjoy learning to speak English naturally. It's about sharing who you are with confidence. Now go and speak.